Hey, Bad Girl Mystic here. So, I'm going to show you a little bit of what I've been up to with my magical planner. So, where I left you last is I was blocking color. And instead of working on that, what I did today instead, which I like to do the first week of the month, this is kind of something, let me get a better angle. This was something that I discovered with the 2019 planner is that, and I use a little clip so I don't have to constantly flip to January. And what I like to do is I start blocking out January. I block out, she puts in all this wonderful information like affirmation of the month. And I found out she's a wealth of information. She mentions La Befana, which turns out it's a Italian ritual called the Feast of Epiphany. And they believe the story of La Befana actually has to do with the goddess Strenia, which is new beginnings and strength and prosperity. Very New Year's, energy and focus. And then she puts in all these different, like I call them magical helpers, like animal totems and crystals and herbs. So what I do is I start blocking out what's going to be bright for me, what I want to make sure that I can see easily that has to do with the spell work and pay attention to that. And then what I do is I go through the whole month and I find a page and I dedicate it to everything that she lists. So when I go to prepare my spells or do a vision board or anything like that, then I incorporate my Book of Shadows magical helpers. I either have the crystals available, add them to charm bags, cut out pictures of animal guardians, incorporate the foods and plants and herbs and teas and essential oils into the month. And then the she craft, I call it she craft, the crafting spells and rituals she suggests, I map those all out into my own calendar. Otherwise, I don't have time, and then I feel down and bummed out because I'm not making time for my witchcraft and my study of it. And this really, this feeds my soul. So I make time, I block out time for my coloring, I block out time for my craft work, and as well as my own physical health therapies that I need to do. I at one time did work 3 jobs. Like at one time, my whole health regimen was a shower, a good cry, and um, a little bit of like girliness. And that was it when I first got married and we had my stepson living with us. I had very little time to myself. So right now I'm at a place because of my health. This is my full-time dedication. So this is how I have made progress with incorporating the whole holistic mind body practice of witchcraft with my own physical healing. And it has made a huge difference. My pain levels has dropped. My inflammation has dropped. My less struggles with depression and anxiety. Overall, just huge boost of strength and energy as well. So it's working for me. So that's why I'm taking it up a notch this year. And then I block out also when I'm going to hang out and post to the coven my pictures and share on social media, because as we all know, that takes time too. And having a brain injury, I always say that having a traumatic brain injury, it's like you have a very small battery. So one of the things of having a brain injury and taking care of myself and my commitment to myself is making sure that I get to accomplish what I want to in ways that do not drain or task my energy. I used to be very big on procrastination and saving things to the last moment and going without eating and without sleep to get something done. And with the brain injury, that all had to stop. If I wanted to stop throwing up, I had to stop overtaxing my body. So time management, there's another reason why I love the fact that this is just, not only is it witchcraft coloring book, but it's also a planner. So she has the crystals, and if I have time, I do incorporate her crystal suggestions into bracelets and charm necklaces and things like that. And she suggests a knot spell, as well as stitchery. Wonderful, wonderful tradition that was passed down to my mom, and it was from her grandmother. And my mom used to say that my mom would never say her mother was a witch or a bruja. She once got very mad at me for saying that because being Mexican and Catholic, you really didn't talk about those things. But it turns out my grandmother had this gigantic garden in East Los Angeles, and my mom said people would come over after church just to sit in her garden, and they had an aviary and fruit trees and a vegetable garden. And she said that her mother was the person people came to ask her about their ailments and what herbs and plants to take. So it's not official, but there is some, definitely always has been some extra magical energy. I always said it was my mom would say it was the Latina blood that ran through some bruja energy that's in my ancestors and traditions. So foods, eating seasonally foods, and here she has some potions here, which I will probably do essential oil blends. Just for me, in terms of being cost effective, I like to look at her spells and look at what I have that I can substitute, because we're on a budget right now as I'm going through the whole process of getting Social Security. So in terms of like making these little animals, I might do these out of wire because I have jewelry wire, and sew some beads onto it. I don't have this particular cord thing, but I can do a braid. I can also do cord bracelets. So I like to, at first I remember I was worried I couldn't do witchcraft because it seemed like there was such a huge investment in everything. And through my own teachers and people I know, getting creative with what you have and using that is also a big part of witchcraft, is making it your own. And then also what I want to do this month that I wrote in there, she has, let's see, here it is. She has a book protection spell, and she mentions getting sprigs of mugwort, wormwood, or St. John's wort. So instead of getting that, I actually have some herbs and crystals. I'm going to make a charm bag that I can keep in my book. So I'll share that with you after I do it. Anyway, that's my progress. Mwah. Peace out, and catch you guys on the flip side.